Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Hi, this is Charles from UgoWork. Today I'm on the New Warehouse podcast, and the safety tip of the day is for all you DIY guys out there, do not add anything to your battery. Do not screw in it because it will cause you potential huge problems and injuries.
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer. Fulfillment demand continues to skyrocket and outpace available labor. To keep up, warehouse operators are turning to flexible fulfillment solutions like 6 River Systems. Utilizing 6 River Systems' award-winning combination of collaborative robots, artificial intelligence, and operational expertise will make your associates and wall-to-wall fulfillment workflow more efficient. No new infrastructure, no change to warehouse layout, easy to deploy and scale, easy to train and retain associates, all at half the cost of traditional automation. Want to take your fulfillment operation to the next level? Go to www.6river.com to learn more. That's www.6river.com to learn more.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hi, this is Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. On today's episode, I am going to be joined by Charles Girard. He is the head of global energy partnerships for UgoWork, which is a lithium-ion battery company focused in the material handling industry, looking at forklifts and things of that nature for lithium-ion battery applications. So he's going to talk to us a little bit about their company, some things that differ from their competitors in the market. We're going to talk a little bit about energy as a service as well, and some of the kind of uniqueness that their batteries have in comparison to some of the others on the market. So, Charles, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Kevin. I'm very good, and thank you for having me on this podcast. I'm a huge fan. I've listened to most of your episode, and thank you for training us and bringing us to a new level. I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's always good to have somebody that, is into the podcast on the podcast as well. And I appreciate that you get some value out of it, as I hope the other listeners do as well. So hopefully we can talk a little bit about lithium ion batteries a little further today and give some more information to the listeners on that. So you work for a company called UgoWork, which is an interesting name. And as you just told me, it's basically, it comes from saying like, hey, you go to work, right? Is that right?
Exactly. You go to work and we'll deal with the energy. Basically, that's what we want to say out there.
Ah, okay. Beautiful. I love it. All right, cool. So you guys deal with lithium ion, as I said, but why don't you give us the full description and kind of the rundown of what it is you guys really do and what you provide to the material handling industry?
So UgoWork, we design, we build, we optimize batteries for forklift, classes 1 through 3. So we're very specialized, and we like to tailor to select clients. We've been in business for over 7 years now. Okay. 5 generations of batteries already. We have a lot of engineers, like over 60% of our company is engineers. Even our marketing director is an engineer. So we've got a lot of engineering power there. And so we do things a little different from most people. So like you said earlier, we do energy as a service. So you don't need any CapEx. And what that brings is basically you have to see it just like at your house where you have a kilowatt hour charge. And depending on your usage, you'll be charged a specific amount. Or like your telephone where you get 1 gig, 2 gig, 3 gigs. We also have a different charging infrastructure, extremely light. So it's done like your car, your Tesla, Actually, a lot of our clients, they say, bring the Tesla, when we go to their warehouse. And we have a charging gun that's very similar and very easy to manipulate. Our COO has been all over the world and to try to find the, charging gun that will work for our clients.
Wow.
And also sustainability. 97% of our full battery is recyclable. So we're big onto the circular economy. So you can keep the same casing and we'll only change the lithium pack. And so that's very innovative for the industry where you can use the casing for 50 years if you want to. And also our data analytic. So that's a huge part of our business because our interests are very aligned with our customer. Us being on a usage part, like energy as a service, brings our incentive very aligned for us to optimize our client's operation. So if we sell you 3 batteries, but you use the same amount, we'll be paid the same. But if we bring it down to 1 battery, we'll still charge you the same amount. So our incentives are very aligned when it comes to data analytic, and our system really, through a cloud system and optimizing really helps our customers with that.
Interesting stuff. So, let's talk a little bit more about the energy as a service, because I think, there's so many companies and providers from, all different aspects are moving to this as a service and these OpEx type of models, which I think makes total sense, especially for the industry that we're in, because, things are, especially with the ramping up of technology that's going on now, things are advancing very quickly, I feel like, in the warehousing material handling industry. So talk to us a little bit about, the energy as a service. I guess the one thing I'm curious, so you're paying for the energy that you're using, essentially. So are you owning the battery, or do you guys own the battery and then you're just paying for the energy? How does that work?
So we're very flexible. So we adapt to our clients' needs, and so we look at the energy as a service as the kilowatt hours that you're going to use. And most of our clients, it's kind of a different model, like you said. So our clients don't know right now how much, they know their forklift, they know the mechanic, but they know very little about energy. And so it's a new model. And so what we're charging you is for your usage. Okay. And so if you use it, and so what happened with a lot of our client is they didn't have the lithium is expensive. It's a big upfront cost. Mm-hmm. And a lot of companies, even with lead acid, they have trouble every year. They go to their finance department and they say, do I have money now to replace my batteries? I was just with a client that was saying, I've used the same battery for 10 years. Like they barely work on my forklift and they won't replace it. Yeah. And so no CapEx option is a great opportunity for some of our clients and for the warehousing industry to get top-notch technology at very little cost, and also not to have to worry about it. Because what our clients tell us is, what I like about UgoWork is I never hear about it. So that's a huge thing for cutting off their plates, and I think that's something interesting for them. So after 20 years, like you'll never have to touch about your energy. Just pay us a monthly fee, and then that's it.
Gotcha. Interesting. So I love the model, definitely, and I think the one thing that stands out to me is, you never hear about the batteries, what your customers say. And I think that's a huge thing because, like you said in the beginning, you want to worry about going to do the work and not worry about maintaining the things that help you do the work. You just want to be able to jump on the forklift, do the work, and that's it, not worry about it. So with that being said as well, when you're doing this energy as a service now, is there any type of maintenance at all that needs to be done? And if so, you guys are covering that, or how does that side work?
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
So on the maintenance part, so when our batteries are lithium ion, NFC chemistry, and with that chemistry, there's not that there's no maintenance, but there's very little maintenance. And that's a huge shift for our clients because, with right now with the problem with employment and all this crisis happening, really decreasing that maintenance is huge. And so that's definitely one part of it. And what happens with us is we will partner with your dealer because a lot of our clients, they deal with the dealers and they will keep doing what they're doing. The only thing is there's not much maintenance to be done on this battery. And so that's why, the industry is kind of changing. I like to compare it to like the Tesla that is changing, but by going directly to the customer as well, And but we still partner with your dealer. And so you'll have your local dealer there and that will keep happening.
All right. Very interesting. And so now I want to kind of talk a little bit about, I think the energy as a service is a really interesting model. And, I think it makes total sense. And, being a warehouse manager myself, I definitely understand the struggle of getting something that is capital expenditure approved. It's basically, whoa, no, let's look at the budget for next quarter, and then let's look at the budget for next year, and all. So it's like,
more warehouse space, yes.
Yeah. So, it's always a difficult thing. So when you can move something to OpEx, I mean, it certainly makes sense, and it's a great thing to help you kind of still continuously improve and get the things that you need to get, but not have to go through, all this red tape basically and all these hoops to get approval to do those things. And like you said, by the time you get approval, if you get approval, your stuff is like almost dead, like obsolete, like, and you're barely making a buy. So really good option there for the customers. But now I'm curious, on the charging side, you said it's similar to a Tesla, and I saw the pictures of the gun, and it is definitely similar to. I don't have a Tesla. I have an electric car, but it's not a Tesla. And it looks similar to that plug as well. It says the chargers are inside the battery. So talk to me a little bit about that. What does that mean? So
if for people out there who for batteries, especially for lithium, it's very important to have a certain infrastructure around it. And that when I talk about the casing, that's what I mean. And for us, that structure includes the charger. And what that does to a lot of our clients is they no longer have to worry about plugging in the right 24 volts or 36 volt or 40, those human errors that happen all the time, they don't happen with us because you can plug it in wherever you want. And what happens is previously it was about $5,000 to $10,000 per charger, and you need a 24 volt for this forklift and you need a 36 volt for this forklift. Well, now it's the same charger, and the charger is much cheaper. Where the charging gun is, it's about between $400 to $600, and so you can put those all over your warehouse, and it's very cheap infrastructure. And so a lot of our clients appreciate that flexibility that comes with that light charging infrastructure.
Okay. And so, I mean, let's clarify a little bit for listeners. So when you say wherever in the warehouse, so if I take this charger, well, the charger is built in, right? So I'm thinking in my mind, picturing that, it's exactly like my electric car. Like it has, basically there's just a special cable. I can plug it into any regular plug in my house and plug in the car. Is that the same type of model?
So we plug into a 480, and so 22 amp. That's so you do need to have an electrician come in and do that work. Like we let we don't want to get involved in that part, just like you did for your electric car. You got an electrician to do it. But once that infrastructure is in place, then it doesn't matter which forklift you're using. And it's very cheap much cheaper than the previous technology. And that's why we put the charger inside the battery.
Got it. Okay. All right. Makes sense. And you said in the beginning there that the COO, I think, traveled the entire globe looking for the perfect charging handle. So tell me a little bit about that and kind of what the what the thought process was behind that, and I guess why that was so important to you guys.
So like I said, we're a fifth generation, we have a lot of experience. So being in the warehouse, we had a lot of clients that with our first generation that, it broke, and we know how rough, and a lot of people, facilities manager, like, I don't know what my guys do with my forklift, but sometimes they don't understand how these accident happens or how they got broken or stuff like that. And so we were like, we want to bring to our clients the best charging gun in the industry. And finally, we came with this charging gun from Germany, and it's impossible to break it.
Impossible. People that operate forklifts out there.
Maybe that was push. Maybe that was marketer in me, but
I was gonna say the forklift operators out there, they hear the challenge. You're challenging them.
Let's do it. I love challenges.
All right, great. So I think that's really interesting, and I think it's really interesting that there's so many engineers within the company, and I think being that you guys have only been around for 7 years and you're on the fifth generation, you can tell that you guys are continuously improving, which is obviously something that's well rooted within warehousing. So it kind of goes hand in hand, and the fact that you're doing that, that you're getting the best potential product that you guys can put out, and it's continuously improving. So with that being said, with the energy as a service, as if you have these batteries and you're within this program and a new generation comes out, are you now going to get the new generation, or you're stuck with what you're signed up for, or how does that work?
So it depends. Of course. Okay. So usually what happens with the lithium ion, of course, like it's 3 times more durable than lead acid. So normally, but we have some companies that use it, for 3 shifts a day, 6, I was just on a call with a company, they do 6,000 hours a year, which is huge. And so the battery will go, the lithium pack will change. But of course, when there's a new technology, we'll switch it. Okay. But if it depends on the client, what they prefer, but we also offer a hybrid system. So we have the energy as a service, but also we have a hybrid for those that might want to just have the battery casing and then rent the lithium pack. Because in this way, like once the lithium pack goes out, then, it's like a in between. So you pay a little bit of CapEx and you pay a little bit per month. And so that's why when I said we're very flexible, like it depends of what the client need, and we'll try to accommodate that.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was curious about that. It's very interesting. So one of the big things behind a lithium ion is certainly a move to a more sustainable and environmentally friendly solution, right, to powering lift trucks and other things as well, like the Tesla and all those different types of things. So I know that for you guys, it's a very important thing. And you mentioned that the battery pack itself is 95% recyclable, and the battery case is 100% recyclable. So I guess tell us, from the engineering perspective, which it sounds like you have plenty of engineers over there. Tell us from the engineering perspective, I guess how much importance was that in the original mission of UgoWork to be that sustainable, and how are you able to get it to that point of recyclability?
No, sustainability is huge for us and our clients. And a lot of them, have these goals to reduce electricity. And we calculated that, on a case study that we just did, we have a company that we put 100 over the past 5 years. So we did a case study and we were able to save 41%. So what that means is per forklift, it's about 5 tons and about 1 car off the road for 1 year that we save. And so that's huge. And also, like you said, having that case that is like almost 100% recyclable is quite important to us. But we even push this to new level of things that, we're talking about engineering, about, using this technology. As I said earlier, like with our case study, we're trying to, we haven't done this yet, but we're trying to find more sustainable way to do our batteries. And one of them is that because for certain operation of our client, let's say you only need like 1,000 hours a year on your forklift.
Okay.
Well, right now with lithium ion, the return on investment is not there. So what we can do though is get a return on investment for 10 years on a 5,000 hour one. And then what happens with those 5 years is the percentage of the battery, let's say now it's 95% efficient or 90% efficient because it gets older and so it's less energy dense. Well, then we can use it on your other forklift. And so we're really working on the circular economy and even sometimes doing battery swaps. And that comes with the data analytic. And our data analytic, it comes with the battery because we want to make sure that, we cover your operation and optimize with you, because we're just there. We just say, okay, this is what it is. And then we work to optimize with our client. But it's part of this whole sustainability thing. And another example is with our case study with the company I mentioned earlier that has 100, every 6 forklifts with optimization, we were able to get rid of one. So, so that's one less waste, And so with that circular economy that we're trying to build, it's the most sustainable you can be.
Very interesting. Yeah. It's a very interesting topic, and I love that people like yourself and UgoWork are going after trying to make their impact, I guess, from a sustainability front, because I think it takes all aspects of the supply chain to kind of chip in to really make some progress for us within the globe. So definitely really happy to hear about that. And, I think it's an interesting approach as well. And I love that initially you guys set out to make sure that it was that sustainable. So it's really great work that you guys are doing there. So you mentioned in there about the fleet analytics. So talk to us a little bit about that. And I'm curious too, you told me a little bit about the energy curve and peak shaving. So I'm curious, what does that mean actually? Energy curve and peak shaving.
So I come from the energy part. I've been working for years on even energy storage and solar and all this. Okay. But I like, we have lots of engineers, so we like case studies.
Yeah.
And so I can tell you one case study that we had that was with Robert 3PL, and they have 50 facilities. And one of their facilities we took for 1 year, and so 6 forklift, 1 year, 1 facility. And at the beginning of the year, they were doing 1,500 hours per month. And then at the end, with our data analytic, we were able to up those hours to 3,000. So we doubled the productivity of their forklift. And we were able to work with their staff and with Robert to get rid of 1 lift. And so that's a huge saving for the company. And so that brings this data analytic to the new level, where before we work with clients and they have no clue how many, their staff comes up to them and says, I need a new forklift. Yeah. Well, you can say, no, you can't prove it. And so with this system, we know exactly what's happening, and our clients can know exactly what's happening and make the right decision. And I think that's something to be there. And just to go to the energy part of your question about peak shaving, I mean, all this data, it's every millisecond, right? It goes to the cloud. It's treated by AWS. It treats. We need lots of power, to do that. And then once we have that, we can optimize. So with states like California, that have energy problem, Texas just had a huge problem as well.
Right.
Like if we're able to, and to be honest, like we haven't done it yet, but we know we have the data to provide that knowledge. We can say, okay, charge your forklift at this time, and then we can shave, and we're already shaving, because we're decreasing by 41%, right? Your energy. So already there, that's a big gain. But if we can, after that, work with the staff to, hey, why don't we change your break 30 minutes later or earlier, or change that shift a little bit to make sure, cheaper energy at this time, and so with this data comes new opportunity for our clients to really optimize their energy. And that's what we specialize in. Like we don't like to be called a battery company. We like to be called an energy company, because that's what we specialize in.
Very interesting. Yeah. And I love that you guys are focused on the energy aspect, because I think that's really the core of it. I mean, the battery is just essentially the delivery device, right, of what you're providing. And, the analytics is hugely important, I think, in understanding, like you said, making the right decision, based off, just someone saying, I need a new forklift, what? Okay. Why? So
no, most of the time you get said no, right? But now if you have data, you can convince your boss.
Exactly. Yeah, and it goes back to the expensive capex versus opex situation as well. With the data, you can certainly prove those things. And I saw something interesting in the notes that you had sent over about it's one thing to have data generated, but it's another thing basically to be able to understand the data and interpret it. So I mean, how is the data analytics from you delivered so that it is like digestible for like the warehouse manager who needs to look at it and review it? How do you guys go about simplifying that in that way?
So that's where our cloud comes in and treats the data. And then we have a full team of customer client experience.
Okay.
And their whole job is to bring this data to be manageable for a client to do those graphs. And so we can know, okay, your guys are taking a break at this time, or the truck is charging at this time. Oh, at this time it was big loads. In the morning it's bigger loads. So we can work with our client to really see what's the energy curve and what's the usage on their forklift, and really work with them to optimize again and get to a new level. I mean, and so when our system treats it, it treats it by itself. So I'll be more. So what happens with the data? I'll be very, very precise. The data gets onto a chip inside the battery.
Okay. Then
the forklift goes to a Wi-Fi area. And we have our own Wi-Fi, by the way, because we don't want to cause any security problem to our clients, infrastructure there. So we have our own Wi-Fi. It doesn't touch the client's Wi-Fi or any system, so that they're very clear of that.
Okay.
And then, so once it gets the Wi-Fi, it goes to AWS, to the cloud. Once it gets to the cloud, it needs a lot of power. Like your computer at home could not, it's a lot of data to treat.
Right.
So the system treats it, brings it into like a manageable data, and then graphs and stuff like that. Our team reviews it, makes sure it's all complete, the graphs are okay, and then we sit down with the client and we say, okay, this is what happened during this time. This is what happened with this time. Is there a way to optimize? Like we could work with your energy at that time or this time, and you see, like so that's kind of the process that our clients go through for the data analytic part.
Very interesting. Yeah. And I love that you guys are, providing all that analysis and then, being able, like I said, simplify it so that, it's easily interpretable and you can make decisions against it. I think a lot of times, we look at things and, there's just like so much data there, so many numbers you're looking at, and you're just kind of like, whatever.
Well, that's why we partner with them, because our client, they know about the operation, they know about their forklift. But then when it comes to energy, that's where a client team comes into play. And then they kind of help the client with that energy aspect. And by combining the two, we're able to really make the right decision.
Yeah, that's great. And I love that you're able to give these people like the supporting data to make the decisions that they need to make, and make them in a smart way. I think that's really a huge key to like driving improvement and really pushing companies forward into the future, and looking at different technologies and what can they use to help their operation grow. So that's really a great thing. So, really interesting stuff. And I'm curious, what do you think, or what is UgoWork kind of working on for the future, and what do you think is kind of the future of lithium ion? I know it's still pretty relatively young.
So we think a lot. Like I don't know if I said it, but we're technology agnostic, right? So we're always looking for the best chemistry, for the best charging infrastructure, for the best for our clients. So that brings us to have a lot of conversation. Like last week, we had a conversation with Karim Zagib, who's the inventor of the LFP powder, to see what his thoughts were and get some input on there. We have this week, I can't say with who, but it's one of the biggest car manufacturer, but we have a meeting with the head of their battery lab and to really see, where the future brings us and guide us. But I think a lot of, I like Bloomberg. I don't know if you know Bloomberg NEF, but they're big into energy.
Okay.
And they're saying that lithium ion is going to $1.25 this year. It went in 10 years, like from 1,200 to 125. So the curve is very, very good in terms of price.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a lot of innovation. There's like, the 1,000,000-mile battery where a lot of people are working on. Eventually you could, you have electric cars. So, you would use the battery for, 30 years or 40 years.
Wow.
And Elon Musk actually, I don't know if you followed that, but he promised to have one in 2020. And so I don't think it actually happened, but it's all things that we're following and really checking. Like I said, we're NMC, like the chemistry, but we're definitely following LCA chemistry and LFP, because we know some other folks have changed to LFP, especially in China, because most of the batteries are manufactured there. Yeah. But we decided to go with NMC because of energy density. It's 15 to 25% more energy dense. And so for a lot of clients that, do cold or do lift heavy equipment, lots of, 6,000 hours per year per forklift, they need a lot of power, and that's what we want to give them.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing what's kind of next in lithium ion, and also what's next from UgoWork. I mean, 5 generations in 7 years. I'm sure we'll be looking at generation 6 soon, right? So it'll be awesome.
Definitely,
Yeah, it'll be awesome to see what you guys develop next. And, I think you guys are going about it really smartly. And, when you have a huge team of engineers, I think that's the way it goes. So it makes a lot of sense. And you guys are definitely listening to the operations managers that are using your product as well, which is a great thing. So Charles, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. How can people find out more information about UgoWork?
Oh, please contact us. We're always willing to have just a chat with you about, the future of batteries if you want it, or forklift. We're always happy to discuss those. So yeah, just ping me on LinkedIn or contact us through our website at ugowork.com, and we'll be happy to help you. That's what we like to do, and that's what we'll keep doing.
All right, great. And we'll put links to that on thenewwarehouse.com as well. So Charles, thank you again so much for your time on the show today.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.